And Fletcher Brown with another artist video blog at KIX96country.com. Our guest today, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. You may remember a band called McBride and the Ride. Sacred Ground was a big, big hit for them. Please welcome for the first time to KIX96 Studios, Terry McBride. Terry.
Hey, Fletcher.
Thank you so much for coming and visiting us.
Hey,
man.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, I don't usually, I sit here, I do a lot of these. If you watch our channel, I never have anything in my hand. I always know who I'm talking to and what to say to them. But the fact of the matter is, there are so many credits to this man's name. I have to use a cheat sheet.
Go ahead. I might need it too. I see. Yes, I remember that.
Okay, Sacred Ground, #1 single in '92.
Yeah, unbelievable.
You guys are
years.
ACM and CMA nominations, Vocal Group of the Year.
'92. Big year.
You yourself have written songs for Garth Brooks, George Strait, Reba McEntire, Ronnie Dunn, Kix Brooks, Alan Jackson, Trace Adkins, Easton Corbin, Kenny Rogers, John Anderson, Chase Bryant. You know what? This list just goes on and on.
Yes.
This is Terry McBride sitting here.
Fletcher, I used to be somebody, darn it. I mean, come on. Certain counties I go into today, and people young, they lose their minds. No, well, that sounds impressive. Mm-hmm. I like the way that sounds as you read that off there. Yeah. But that's over about a 25-year span. I mean, it's hard to believe, but going back to 92 was the year Sacred Ground was #1. We're talking 25 years. And fortunately, I have been able to stay in the business all those years.
Well, okay, so talk to us a little bit about and we'll get to new music. He's got new music. That's what brings him here. We're going to talk about that. But let's talk a little bit about coming from McBride and the Ride.
Right.
Because you said earlier off camera, we were talking, you said songwriting brought you to Nashville.
Right.
But you ended up becoming an artist, and you had a great band.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's talk about that transition, what that meant to you, staying alive in the industry in Nashville between then and now. What was that process like?
Well, it's a ongoing process for anybody who's in it. I mean, music, entertainment, it is a fleeting sort of business, ever changing. And fortunately, I've been able to stay somewhat relative all those years, and relevant and current is what I'm trying to say. And that's not easy to do. I know a lot of guys my age and older and even younger kind of get set in their ways. They're stuck in a place and they don't want to move, and that really doesn't work sometimes in this business. So fortunately, through touring and with other acts, I've been able to kind of continue to, like I said, stay current, stay on top of things that are happening, and keep moving, evolving, and working, and my music sort of reflects that. But that's been a big key component to where I'm at today. But I came to town as a songwriter, like a lot of guys do. I came up from Texas, living near Austin, Texas is where I grew up. Started knocking on doors, a lot of rejections, like everybody goes through in the beginning. Then I got with a couple writers in Austin, Texas, who were having some success. They were a local husband-wife duo, and they were writing songs for Stevie Ray Vaughan. They wrote Crossfire, Willie the Wimp. They were having cuts by the Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Oh my gosh!
And I was playing with a guy named Delbert McClinton, who was sort of an R&B legend.
We know Delbert.
Well, yeah, man, he's a fantastic guy. I played bass for him for a couple of years in the '80s. Out of that, I transitioned, and I wanted to focus on songwriting. I knew if I was going to make it, a song was going to take me there. I didn't want to just be a side man, even though I loved Delbert and still do. And so I focused more on writing. I went out of Delbert's band, went over and auditioned for Bill, had a band called The Blame, and we went out and did a whole Stevie Ray Vaughan tour that year. And while we were out there, I started playing my little homemade demos for Bill and Ruth, who were writing. And they said, man, I love it. Let's get together. They took me in, and they really elevated my writing skills, where I had been writing mainly by myself. Had good ideas, had good songs, but these guys were in a whole different level and were having success that I hadn't even had. Of course, none at that particular time. They took me in. Then we started making trips to Nashville, one of our very first trips. Got the attention of a guy, Jody Williams at BMI, and he went. Of course, in our minds, we're like, we're coming to Nashville. We want to get a George Strait cut. You know, we're from Texas. Here's our deal. Fletcher, we had it in our minds. We didn't know what we were doing, but we knew we were from Texas. And
Aim high.
And by God, why not go for George Strait?
Seriously.
So fortunately for me, Jody Williams said, well, I'll tell you what. Whoever's singing these demos, he needs a record deal. And it was me, you know. So fortunately, and so we said, hey, that sounds good. Get us a record deal. You know? And I mean, he went out of his way and got us meetings with every main big player in Nashville at each label. And our last visit was Tony Brown at MCA. And Tony just loved it and went on to sign me briefly right after that. So songwriting is what opened the doors for me. And then after McBride and the Ride, that's what continued to not only open doors, but keep me in the business. And I really buckled down after that and focused solely on writing. And as I was saying, Brooks and Dunn, once they recorded one of my songs, Ronnie invited me out on the road with him. He had just gotten his own bus. He had been on the band bus and said, man, I got a bus. Come go with me. I'm going to California. And I went out with him 15 days. We wrote about 10 songs and ended up writing a couple hits on that run. He's Got You, which was a big old #1 song for those guys. And that led to about 13 years. And so that was a big part of what I was doing, writing songs. And then people were always asking me, you going to record? You going to do this? You going to do that? Not until I signed with this recent company, MV2, the last couple of years. They've just been real supportive. Some people I've known over the years and actually worked with and publishing in my past. And they just said they had the means, they had the money to back it and do a lot of things, and I just fit into their plans. And so that's where this music came from. I found a song I wrote called Hotels and Highways. I didn't have a song. You're talking about, you need to be recording. People say that all the time. It's like, well, I don't have the song. I hadn't even thought about it. Then once the song showed up, then I felt better about moving forward as an artist, and that's kind of what's led me here and to you today.
All right, so now Hotels and Highways, you perfect segue right into the current music.
Cool.
That's already out. It's like it was released earlier this year, this spring.
Right.
And the current single is the title track,
Hotels and Highways, and we've just kind of released it, but we didn't know what we were doing. Then we started getting some interest and seeing little pockets and places of success. Then we hired on a little promotion team, which kind of focused us in a direction that we needed. We've got the means to record and do a lot of things, but there's a whole other world out here, as far as getting the song to you and a lot of other stations and places. And that's the phase that we're in now, trying to get me in front of some people playing and singing. And I just signed with Buddy Lee Attractions this last week. Great people. And so we're really focusing next year on doing a lot of dates and some things like that. Things are slowly kind of coming together. And once again, the song is what does it all. We can talk about it all day, but music has to be the main focus, and it's what the catalyst that drives all of this, that gets people excited. So that's where I'm at this point.
All right. So Hotels and Highways, what's the song about?
Well, like a lot of songwriting sessions, I was just writing another song because that's what I do 4 or 5 days a week. It seems like. And once we got into the song, it just started I was connecting with it because I spent most of my life on the road. And once we got to the chorus, it's like, the hum at the door, everything I own in a suitcase on the floor, I've lived that.
Yeah.
And so I felt that, and so it connected to me where a lot of songs don't. We're writing songs and make believe, we're creating scenarios that we sound good in our mind and somebody might want to sing them. That particular song, I could connect to it. Yeah. And that meant something to me, and I felt good as a grown guy. It just connected to me, and I thought I could use a song like that, and that's how it all kind of fell into place. Once I had that, then I started focusing on other songs that might use that as my centerpiece and kind of build around it.
All right, and Hotels and Highways is the current single. The EP, the name of the album, so go ahead and find that iTunes and all the usual places.
Yeah, cool, absolutely. Anywhere you like to get music, it's out there. And we've got a brand new video that's, you can see it anywhere. You can see it on my, TerryMcBrideMusic.com is my site. And I'm Terry McBride Music on everything, Instagram, Facebook. But it's on YouTube, the video. And then any place you like to download music. And of course, at my site, we have the CDs. I know fans still like that sort of thing. And you can actually get a physical copy because that's some of the first thing people started asking, where can we get the actual CD? Yeah. So that helps and will lead you. And there's some interesting things on my site, pictures and from the past and some cool stuff. I took a camera around a lot in the 90s and even filmed a lot of video, and we actually used some of that in my new video. The mullet is in there, and and a lot of performance stuff is in there, but it was what it was. You're talking 90s, and we were definitely a hair band. Now that I look back, it's pretty frightening, Fletcher. I'm going to tell you what. But I don't know. I should have had a Final Net endorsement or something because there was some hair going on like crazy. But it's funny to see it, and I like having it. That's a part of my past.
Yeah, country hit its hair metal days in the 90s.
It really was. The metal hair died, and we ran with it.
We're like, hey, if you're not using that look,
embraced it. Yeah. That's exactly what we did. You're exactly right.
Terry McBride is our guest. If you want to hear Hotels and Highway, please call us at KIX96. We will happily play it for you.
Oh, man. I'm calling. I'm going to call you as soon as I leave here.
Look for a live performance of Terry McBride elsewhere on our channel. And Terry, thank you so much.
Oh, Fletcher. Pleasure, man. Thank you.
We appreciate having you. And don't be a stranger. Come back and see us again soon.
I know where you're at now.
That's right. You can come back. He'll come. We'll get it back. And we'll see you next time on another artist video blog, KIX96country.com.